Good morning and welcome to episode 10 of the Powerpuff Babes podcast, where sugar meets spice and everything nice. We're your hosts, Mo, Kat, and Ellie. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone, and I hope you have a wonderful things planned for this lovely Monday. I'd also like to remind our viewers it is also Black History Month, and the lovely lady I would like to mention today is Claudette Colvin. 9 months before Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on the bus in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, there was a brave 15-year-old girl who chose not to sit at the back of the bus, that young girl being Claudette. Most people know about Parks and the Alabama-Montgomery bus boycott, but a few know there were a number of women who refused to give up their seats on the same bus system. Most of the women were quietly fined and no one heard much more. Claudette was the first to really challenge the law in the same city, the same bus system as Rosa Parks. Touting her constitutional rights to remain seated near the middle of the vehicle, Claudette challenged the driver and was subsequently arrested. The bus driver ordered her to get up, and she refused, saying she paid her fare and that it was her constitutional right. Two police officers put her in handcuffs and arrested her. Her school books went flying off her lap. Quote, "All I remember is that I was not going to walk off that bus voluntarily," Claudette said. She was the first woman to be detained for her resistance. However, her story isn't nearly as well known as Rosa Parks. Claudette is still with us today. Now an 82-year-old retiree, Claudette lives in the Bronx. She remembers taking the bus home from high school on March 2nd, 1955, as clear as if it were yesterday. Quote, "It was Black History Month, and at her segregated school, they had been studying Black leaders like Harriet Tubman, the runaway slave who led more than 70 slaves to freedom through the network of safe houses known as the Underground Railroad. They were also studying Sojourner Truth, a former slave who became an abolitionist and women's rights activist. The class had also been talking about the injustice that they were experiencing daily under the Jim Crow segregation laws, like they weren't able to eat at a lunch counter. Quote, "We couldn't try on clothes," Claudette says. "You had to take a brown paper bag and draw a diagram of your foot and take it to the store. Can you imagine all of that in my mind? My head was just too full of Black history, the oppression that we went through. It felt like Sojourner Truth was on one side pushing me down, and Harriet Tubman was on the other side of me, pushing me down. I couldn't get up. And then I got scared, and panic came over me, and I started crying. Then I started saying the Lord's Prayer," she says. Claudette was initially charged with disturbing the peace, violating segregation laws, and battering and assaulting a police officer. There was no assault. Annie Larkins Price, Claudette's classmate, said. She also said in a book that one of the police officers sat in the back seat with her. This made her very scared that they would sexually assault her because this happened frequently. Police officers who took her to the station made sexual comments about her body, took turns guessing her bra size throughout the ride. Mind you, she's also like 15. She's a teenager.
My God.
A group of Black civil rights leaders, including Martin Luther King Jr., was organized to discuss Claudette's arrest with the police officer commissioner. She was bailed out by her minister, who told her that she had brought the revolution to Montgomery. Through the trial, Claudette was represented by Fred Gray, a lawyer from Montgomery Improvement Association, MIA, who was organizing civil rights actions. She was convicted on all three charges in the juvenile court. When Claudette's case was appealed by the Montgomery Circuit Court, May 6, 1955, the charges of disturbing the peace and violating the segregation laws were dropped, although her conviction for assaulting a police officer were upheld. The judge ordered that the juvenile record be expunged and destroyed in December 2021, stating that Colvin's refusal had been, quote, "recognized as courageous act on her behalf and on behalf of the community of affected people." After Claudette's arrest, she found herself shunned by her community. She experienced various difficulties and became pregnant at a young age. Civil rights leaders felt she was an inappropriate symbol for a test case. Claudette Colvin also challenged the law in court. One of four women, Aurelia S. Browder, Susie McDonald, and Mary Louise Smith, plaintiffs in Browder v. Gale, The court that oh my god, I can't talk. The court that successfully overturned bus segregation laws in Montgomery, Alabama. When asked why she is little known and why everyone thinks only of Rosa Parks, Colvin says the NAACP and all the other black organizations felt Parks would be a good icon because, quote, she was an adult and they didn't think teenagers would be reliable. She also said Parks had the right hair and the right look. Quote, her skin texture was the kind that people would associate with the middle class, says Claudette. She fit that profile. Another reason why her story wasn't talked about a lot was because she rarely talked about it once she moved to New York. In 2005, Claudette told Montgomery Advertiser, I don't know how to say that she would not have changed her decision to remain seated on the bus. Quote, I feel very, very proud of what I did, she said. Quote, I do feel like what I did was a spark and it caught on. I'm not disappointed. Let the people know Rosa Parks was the right person for the boycott, but also let them know that the attorneys took 4 other women to the Supreme Court to challenge the law that led to the end of segregation. Claudette has often said that she is not angry that she did not get more recognition, rather she is disappointed. She said that she felt as if she was getting, quote, Christmas in January rather than the 25th. I don't think there's more room for more icons. I think that history only has enough room for certain, how many icons can you choose? So, I think you can compare history like most historians. Like most historians say Christopher Columbus discovered America and it was already populated. But they don't say Columbus discovered America. They should say that for the European people, that is, their discovery of the New World. Claudette's role has not gone completely unrecognized. Councilman Larkin's sister was on the bus in 1955 when Claudette was arrested. In the 2010s, Larkin arranged for a street to be named after Claudette. Later, Representative Joseph Rambert said, quote, if nobody did anything for Claudette Colvin in the past, why don't we do something for her right now? He contacted Montgomery Councilman Charles Ginwright and Tracy Larkin in 2017. The council passed a resolution for proclamation honoring Claudette. March 2nd was named Claudette Colvin Day in Montgomery. Mayor Todd Strange presented the proclamation. Oh my god, I can't speak. And when speaking of Claudette, said, quote, she was an early foot soldier in our civil rights and did not want this opportunity to go by without declaring March 2nd as Claudette Colvin Day to thank her for her leadership in the modern-day civil rights movement, Rembert said. I know people have heard her name before, but I thought we should have a day to celebrate her. In 2019, a statue of Rosa Parks was unveiled in Montgomery, Alabama, and 4 granite markers were also unveiled near the statue of the same day to honor 4 plaintiffs in Browder v. Gale, including Claudette. But this is the end of my story of Claudette Colvin, but thank you so much for your bravery, Claudette, and if anyone wants to read more about her story, there's a book called Claudette Colvin, Twice Toward Justice by Philip Hoos. And yeah, that's it for Claudette. I guess I'll get on to the topics for today. So, ladies, would you want to be when you were small?
Whale. I okay, so check this out, right? I always wanted to be a doctor when I was younger. That essentially came to not be. Because as I got older, I started watching like crime documentaries and like true crime shows, like Criminal Minds, Law and Order, stuff like that. Um and one character that I'd say that really um called my attention or caught my eye was Miranda Warner from Law and Order SVU. Mind you, she's a forensic pathologist. Um so I was like, she's cool. I want to be like her. I'm going to do what she does. And ever since I first started watching, which I believe I was pretty young, man. I first started watching Law and Order at a pretty young age. I want to say like at the age of like 5 or 6. Um, Ever since then, like I've always wanted to be a forensic pathologist. So I definitely looked into all of that shit. That shit is like 13 years in school, man.
Hey.
Yikes.
13. 13 minus like the
Yes.
internship. So the internship is usually like 2 to 3 years. So like maximum like 15 to 16 years of like education and training and whatnot. So I was like, dang.
Yikes. Yeah.
I don't know
I
if I
think
could do
we're probably
another
going to school.
round of school like that.
Mm-mm, not me.
You know, I'm like,
School's
what
had
do I
enough
want
of
to
me.
do? I know, I'm like, I don't like school enough, so I'm kind of worried about what I want to do. But when I was younger, at first, I wanted to be a teacher because I had this amazing teacher, and I was just like, I want to be like you. I fucking loved her. She was the best. She was my, well, okay, second kindergarten teacher, because they had a weird thing where I had one kindergarten teacher, and like I guess our class got too big, so they hired her and then like split the class in half. Like I guess
Dang.
like halfway through the alphabet. So they took the last part of the alphabet and gave it to Mrs. Eisenhower, and I fucking loved her class.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, I also loved the teacher before, but like I don't know, she just had this like such a great energy about her, and I was like, I love you, like yes. Um, but I wanted to be a teacher because of her and my music teacher who would give me hugs every day, like let me hug her. She called me her little hug bug, and I fucking
Oh, that's
loved
Mm.
her.
adorable. Yo,
And
those
when
teachers
she
that let you
retired, it
hug
was
is awesome.
no, seriously.
There's
And when
some
she
that
retired,
don't.
I was so upset. I was like, please don't leave me. Like her, and oh my god, I loved so many people at my elementary school. Like it was her. Um, one of the lunch ladies was so fucking sweet. Her name was
Oh
Mrs. Bunch.
my gosh. Uh-huh.
And I hate that I can't remember my music teacher's name.
I'm so sorry. It's just the fact that like the way you're explaining like the teachers and like the people that you loved in elementary school is like the same order that I loved my like people. Cuz like I had so for kindergarten, I think it was kindergarten. No, it was pre-K. So pre-kindergarten, I had two teachers in like the same class, right? I don't know why, but like they were both like there.
Never mind. Sorry, I remember.
But yeah, so like yeah, I had those two teachers and then I had the lunch lady that I loved and the one music teacher that I loved as well. Anyways, continue.
It's okay.
Sorry.
I remember her name. It's all right. Mrs. Wilson. All right. So you have Mrs. Eisenhower, Mrs. Wilson, and Mrs. Bunch. Anyways, absolutely loved them to death. Especially Mrs. Wilson because she let me hug her, and I guess I was very deprived as a child, so I just like seeked her out every day so I could hug
Oh,
her.
yeah.
And when she was gone, I was so sad. But luckily for me, she was there like my entire elementary schoolhoodness. She
Mhm.
left when I was like halfway through fifth grade, so but she was old, so I am not certain where she's at now. But this was also a good. She was maybe like 60 something,
Mhm.
and this was let's see, I'm what, so 15 to 10 years ago. So I'm hoping they're all doing good. But anyways, so I wanted to be a teacher because of them, and then because of a few of my uncles, I wanted to be a firefighter. I thought it was just a really cool job,
Right.
and then um, I had my first brush with like fire, and was like, no. And then because of my dad, I wanted to be a police officer. Um, and then I watched a show that was very dramatized
Uh-huh.
about cops, And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. So I came to the final conclusion that because of my immense love for animals, that I want to be a veterinarian.
Mm-hmm.
But
Good
like you were
choice.
saying with yours, I'm like the school part of it.
Yeah, I think for veteran, it's not that bad for vets.
I think it's a little
Um,
bit less than what
I
you want to
think
do.
it's like at max, like maybe 8 years.
Yeah,
I want to say less. I want to say less, but
I know
I
it's at
I think
least
at
like 5 or
max,
6.
yeah, it's like 5 or 6. But max is about 8.
Yeah,
If you want to get like the full like over the top knowledge type thing.
yeah. But I'm like,
But it's not that bad for vets. Yeah.
I didn't like school and I kind of had to go. Technically, I kind of don't have to. And I
Yeah.
mean, there are jobs you can find that like you can get online certificates and still work, you know, kind of. I
Yeah.
don't think I'd be like a vet tech or a veterinarian getting like an online certificate or whatever, not a degree or whatnot. But like I could still work with animals should I want to. I mean, I don't need a degree to work with animals. There's like plenty of jobs, but you know.
Right. And see
But yeah,
that's
that's what I want to do.
yeah,
Just work with animals, really. But a veterinarian was kind of the goal.
yeah, for sure. Like at one point in my life I wanted to do that as well, but my thing is uh I like to help people. Like I'm that type of person that loves to help people. So if you got a problem, like I'll be there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my thing was like, ooh, become a doctor cuz you're helping people. Um but then I was like, but seeing as how like doctors are like 24/7 and like I like sleep, so I'd rather sleep. So no doctor for me. I was like, okay. Um I started watching Law and Order and obviously was like forensic pathologist is one way of helping people, close cases, like
Yeah,
uh
get people closure and stuff.
give people closure exactly. And then at one point I actually started watching this show called Night Watch. um it's about these paramedics who are in New Orleans, and one like I was like I'm gonna like send a little like message to one of them and like see how they did this, like what classes they took, what courses and whatnot. I in my mind I'm like, these people are like famous, so obviously they're not going to give me an immediate response. So I was like, I was there debating whether or not to send it, and I did. I ended up sending it. And I was like, there's no way they're not like she's not going to respond to me like immediately. I'm going to wait like a couple years or whatever, right? Um I was wrong. I sent that, and in like 5 minutes she responded to me and was like, "Oh, hey, like, like being a paramedic is super cool. Like you do all this stuff, you help all these people." And then she told me like the classes that she took. And I was like, "Yo, this is so cool. Shout out to Holly. Love you, girl." Um but yeah, no, like she responded. She was really cool about it. She was really like she's a really chill person. Like she's really cool. Um but yeah, so I ended up just like I was like, dang, that's crazy. Like she responded to me. Like I know what to do now. But then but when I like around that time that I got that response, I ended up started to have anxiety, like panic attacks and stuff.
Mhm.
So I couldn't be like, looking at how like everything is fast paced, and like I'm a very like quick learner. I'm very good at like fast paced and shit. But for things to be like high pressure and like super on, like you need to be like on top of your game 120% of the time. It's like, holy shit, if I do this, I feel like I'm going to have anxiety like most of the time.
Yeah.
And it's like that mentality definitely got to me and was like, maybe you shouldn't do this. Maybe you shouldn't become a paramedic. Just stick to like forensic pathology or whatnot. Um, if it gets to the point like, cause like, mind you, I like to learn new things. So if I were to like do whatever right now, right? So right now I'm like learning computer stuff. But if I want to become a paramedic later on in life, I could so totally do that still. Never is like, is it I'm sorry. What am I trying to say here? It's never too late to go back to school to learn something new so you can have a new profession in your life.
I mean, absolutely.
For sure. And a lot of people out there are very much like they want to do new things and not like they don't want to stick to the same career for the rest of their life. So they'll eventually like retire from one job and then they're like, I want to do something different. And like for those people who do that, good on you, because holy shit, I don't think I could do that. like multiple, like you know, you have to spend time in school again and like try and figure out what you want to do again, right? So like a new thing. So like say you were like electrician, like now you want to go back to school and you want to learn other things. You want to become a doctor. You spend all of this time in school, go you know, go do your internship and whatnot, and you become a doctor. And it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
you spent all this time, like all this money, and you got to do something new, and now you're loving it. Like it's really
Yeah.
cool, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I did not mean to cut you off.
You're gonna cut you off, really.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that, like, I constantly have to remind myself that, like, I'm not taking too long to do things because, like, it's been so branded in our like society and in our heads that like you have to be in college as soon as you graduate high school at like 18, 19, however old you are, depending. Like you have to be
Mhm.
graduated at the end of the 4 years if you have like the rest of that degree, or like the rest for whatever you want to do. Like you
Yeah,
have to do that right after, and you have to be done by the time you're like mid 20s, 30s, or like you'll never be able to do anything. And it's like, it's not true.
it's not
Like
true.
your life
Let
is
me tell
however you
you,
want it to
it
go.
is not true.
Like
So,
you can take a gap year and go, you
oh
cannot
hell
go,
yeah.
you can go later on. Like there is no rush. Like my mom, it wasn't until she had me at almost 30 that she went back to school. Like
Mhm.
there is absolutely no rush.
You
And I
have,
constantly have to remind myself, because I give myself
yeah,
anxiety that I'm like, I'm not doing enough. And it's
right.
like, no, I think I'm doing enough, but people outside are telling me that I'm not. So it gets into my head.
As a
But
matter of
I
fact,
think I'm where I want to be.
yeah, as a matter of fact, like since you mentioned the gap year and whatnot, um, high school students, if you have no plan, like whatsoever, on what to do with your future, let me tell you, you have your whole life ahead of you still. You
Literally.
have 30, 40, 50 plus years to come up with a plan. Now, obviously, like you want to like do something before you hit like your 50s, 60s, because you want
Yeah.
to like by then you want to be able to retire. But um but you have your whole life ahead of you. And it's not bad, I guess you could say. Uh Definitely if you want to take a break from school, you could definitely take like a year gap year off. Studies show, or like statistics show, that about 50 to like I think it was 50 to 65 last time I checked, percent of students who took a gap year and of those who didn't actually ended up doing better in school than those that didn't take the gap year, because they were
Yeah.
so burnt out from high school.
Mhm.
So in my opinion, I took my gap year and I'm doing so much better in school. Let me tell you something. I was a horrible student in high school, but that was because of how much effort I had put on into school like early ahead of time. And I
Yeah.
was so burnt out already. And so I just like took a gap year and I'm doing so much better. My grades are like hella good and I'm like, I impress myself. um but
Yeah.
definitely don't think about it twice. If you feel like you need a break, go for it. Take a break. You know, take a whole year off if you need to. Like if you feel like a few months is fine, then that's cool, whatever. But those that took a gap year did better in school than those that didn't, because they were already burnt out and you don't want to burn yourself out early in your life. So
Yeah.
definitely you, like I said, you have a whole like lifetime ahead of you. You can wait a couple years before you go to school again, or if you want, just take like a year off, go back to school, and you'll be fine. Whatever.
Because I went to, because like my plan was like community college, transfer to like a college, and
Right.
then like get my all that shit.
What
And
is
so like
recommended?
after
I'm
I
sorry. No, for
graduated,
real?
and so like right after I graduated, me and my friend went to like the same community college for like 2 semesters. And at the end of the at the end of the second semester,
Wrong.
I was about to say the first
Sorry.
semester. At the end of the second semester, like COVID and everything hit, and I just like found myself so like unmotivated
Hmm.
because I was just like, I don't want to do shit online. For one, I'm an in-person kind of person. Like online was not helping me. So like towards the end of the semester, everything was online, and I was like, I don't want to do this. So I gave up. I flunked out of my math. Um, I coasted through one of like my easy classes because it was like a project, and I got so fucking lucky with that actually. But I got like a 99 in that class. It was crazy, like an A. Actually, I'll explain. Basically, so we had a project, and this was around the time where I was like, yo, fuck school. Like, I don't care. We had a project, and I had started it, and then I hit save. But I don't know if she lied to me or not. I feel like they can see it. But my teacher, like, it was like the day, like, after the due date, or like the day of the due date. She like emailed me and she was like, hey, I see that you like tried to, uploaded it, like it didn't go through. Like just send it to me, yada yada, and like there will be like no like late penalty. And I was like, hey yo. So I like put everything together really quickly for the project, and then I sent it in, and I got 100 on it. And I was like, yeah,
Damn.
oops. but
Excuse me.
um but yeah, so I just like coasted through that, and it's been 2 years. And I have been in this mood of like not wanting to go because after I graduated, I wanted to take a gap year and I didn't. And now I feel like really burned out and not want to go to school because I
Yeah.
like didn't give myself, and I pushed myself because of what other people were telling me and not what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
And no offense to my mom, but I really wish that she would like stop telling me how to live my life. Uh, because now I am in this place where I'm like, I really wish that I had waited
Right,
because I
right,
feel like I'd be so much better for it
right.
at this point. But like now I'm like, I'm going back home soon. And me and my dad had a talk the other day when he called me, and he was like already talking about school. And I was like, dude, shut up. Respectfully, shut the hell up because I don't want to talk about that right now. Like, I don't want to talk about it at all. And I'm
No,
like,
yeah,
I
for
don't know
sure.
how I feel about school. And he's like, well, maybe if you like live on campus. And I'm like, absolutely fucking not. I am an antisocial introvert. The fuck you mean go live on campus?
Yeah,
Hell
no.
no.
You want
But
me to
yeah,
room with a stranger?
no. Right. But yeah, no. So definitely if you're feeling like you want to take that gap year or two, don't listen to people about how colleges are going to look at that and think it's like, oh no, everybody takes a gap year.
And
Like
this is
like well, not everybody, but a lot of people take a gap year. A lot of people take more than just a year. A lot of
right.
people take less. But no college is going to look at that and be like, "Oh my god, they needed a gap year. Ew, I'm not going to admit them." No, because everybody knows that it's okay. It's completely
Yeah,
okay if you want
it's
to take a gap
completely
year. Don't
fine.
let anybody push you into just going to school if you do not feel like you want to, if you do not feel like you are ready, any of that. Just do what's in your mind and what's best for you, and don't listen to anybody else because at the end of the day, you know what's good for you and what's going to keep you happy.
Exactly. And this is
So,
where that like work smarter not harder type thing comes into play. When you're in
yeah.
high school, like there's some schools, I'm not sure if all of them uh like let you have this now, but I know my school did. Some high schools let you take what is called dual credit classes. And those classes essentially give you credit towards classes in college. Basically meaning you can take college classes in high school already, and that way when you get to into college, like those classes have already been taken, you do not have to take that, so that shaves off time off if you're like full time there. So I definitely recommend doing those in high school if you are still in high school. Um, and then like after that you could take your gap year and then you go to school and basically you've already done some of the classes, so you don't really have to do them again. And they're already in your transcript and everything, so it's not like needed. Um, that's what I did, and I now don't have to take those classes because I already took them and I already got A's on them. So, um but yeah, no, for like the gap years and stuff, like colleges will look at that and then, but they won't look at it as like, oh, like, oh, they must be a bad student, like they're lazy or whatever. No, they don't do that. As a matter of fact, there are some colleges that let you like apply, and if you get accepted, you can just send them a letter saying like, hey, I understand that I got accepted to the school, to the college or whatever. But you can you can say like, but I am wanting to take a gap year, and they'll be like, sure, of course you can take a gap year, we'll have you enrolled in so and so years like roster. And
Mhm.
you know you're just explaining that you're taking a gap year because like you feel burnt out or like medical reasons or whatever kind of reason that you have. They'll definitely understand and let you know like, okay, yeah, we'll add you to like next year's roster or something.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. So definitely like look into like dual credit classes. If you want to take a gap year and you still want to enroll to school like ahead of time, you could do that. um you just have to do some research, talk to the campus administrators or like counselors or whatever, and they can tell you what your next options are. um
I will
Work
say for things like
smarter, not harder.
I
You're good.
will say for things like scholarships and things, I know they have like little exceptions and stuff for
Oh
like
yeah.
waiting, but I will say, unfortunately, I mean, good for you because like ayo, but if you get a scholarship, um, you will probably not be able to take a gap year because normally they like want you there and like going to school and getting the grades and doing whatever like you got the scholarship for. So,
Right.
but I mean, hey, fuck it. If you have a scholarship, you probably don't even need a gap year. I mean, shit. If
I
you're getting that fucking
mean,
good, that somebody looked at you and was like, you. So I mean,
exactly.
go you, fuck a gap year, do you. But like everybody else, I mean, even if you have a scholarship, fuck it. If you're like, whatever, I'll go later, you know, and like there's no way to like save the scholarship for you, but like that's what you feel like doing, then do it. I mean,
Yeah, don't pressure yourself into like pushing yourself too far.
yeah, exactly.
Because I mean, I tried doing scholarships in high school because my family wasn't exactly or isn't exactly they don't exactly have the money, so I would try to do scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
But the only time I ever had time with the computer was during school, and we would go during my English class, and I remember after we would be done with our work, our teacher would yell at us if we were doing anything else but the work. But everybody was literally trying to go on the website. I forgot what website it's called, but it was filled with a lot of scholarships you could look up,
Mm-hmm.
whether it was a little bit or a lot, whatever. And she would yell at us, and she was like, "If you're done with your work, just turn off your computer and sit there." And we would be like, "Miss, like, we're trying to do these scholarships, we're trying to do these essays, we want to like go to school." And she'd be like, "I don't care." And
Wow.
yeah,
Rude.
so
Mm.
I instead started or decided to take a gap year, which ended up turning to a while. But yeah, it's gonna bulk up the money.
Yeah, it'd be like that. It really do. That's why it's been 2 years for me because it was like, well, for multiple reasons. I mean, at first it was like I don't want to go while things are online, and then things were back online, and I was like, still kind of not feeling it. And it was like only like a semester in, so I was like, well, I could like, do like the rest of the semester and be like a full year, and then like do next fall. And then next fall came, and there were just other personal issues I will not air out. So it became another semester, and then it was later on, and it was just like more stupid shit. And then it was like, all right, next fall. And then my next fall, I had moved out and traveled halfway across the world. So we're gonna try again for next fall. This fall.
I know. But yeah,
But
no, like I said, it's definitely more of the work smarter, not harder type thing. Um,
yeah,
don't like rush yourself into going into college if you don't need to. Uh, there's a lot of things that have. There's a lot of things that happen in your life that you never know will happen. So definitely take those into current consideration. Um, but yeah, no. That's that's something that you all need to think about before going into college. I feel like. Um, so I got sick last week, ladies,
mhm.
and I wanted to talk about ex friends. Okay, that's what like I wanted to mainly talk about today, since our last episode was of Friendsville and whatnot. Um, so basically, I remembered because I got sick. I remembered of this one thing that happened to me. So I used to be friends with two girls back in like middle school. I'm not gonna say their name because I feel like they're gonna watch at some point in their life, and I don't know. I just nah. Um, but basically, I got sick this one time. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't me who got sick. It was my family who got sick. So my family got sick, right? Um, and this one girl was like had already been planning like a sleepover or whatever, like for that same weekend that my family got sick. And mind you, like when they got sick, like they got sick, let me tell you. Um, at the time it was only my parents and my sister. My brother had not been born yet, my little brother. Um, so I remember like at that point, like all three of them were just like dying sick. Like they had
Yeah.
stomach aches, headaches, like they were vomiting. Like it was bad, bro. Um, So what happened was like she had called me, right? Because I texted her and was like, "Oh, like I don't think I'll make it because like I want to take care of my family. Like they're sick, and I want to be here to like cook them some soup and like give them medicines and whatever, right?
Mhm.
Because they couldn't even like get out of bed, like they felt that bad. Um, so then I was like, yeah, so I'm not gonna make it, right? And she goes, what do you mean you're not gonna make it? We've been planning this since like 2 weeks ago. And like we've been wanting to like have a sleepover for over like a month. And she was like, you have to come. And I was like, no, dude, like my family is sick. They can't get out of bed. They're freaking dying. I'm gonna be here to cook them soup, homemade chicken soup, and yeah, I'm gonna take care of them. And so then she called me, right, and she made it into a conference call with the other girl, and she was like, I can't believe you, Kat. I can't believe you're just like backing out of our plan already. Like we've been planning this already for 2 weeks and whatnot. And I was like, ma'am, I gotta take care of my family. What do you mean? Like my sister, I'm like more worried about my sister because she's over here dying. And I was like, she's younger than me. She shouldn't be dying right now. I should be dying. Um, so then I was like, no, I'm gonna take care of my family. I'm gonna stay home. We can plan this thing for like next weekend because, by then my family would be fine. She ended up yelling at me, and like the other girl was just like quiet. She wouldn't say anything. So she ended up yelling at me and was like, you're like, I can't believe you're doing this to us, Cat. And like, oh, I remember she was like super like ugh about it. She was like, "You're being such a bitch," and blah blah blah. I was like, "Okay, I'm being a bitch because I want to take care of my family." Great. Okay. All right. So then after that conversation, um, I just hung up the phone. Like she was saying something, I just hung up the phone,
I
and
would have looked way before.
I was done at that point, dude. So then she tried calling me again, right? And she called like 6, 7, 8 times after that, and I was
Will
like,
block you.
fuck that. She's like she was blowing up my phone, texting me, like cat, answer my phone calls, cat, cat, cat.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, leave me alone. And
Thank
at that
God.
point, like, my mom had heard like my phone going off a lot, so she looked at my like messages, like on the screen, right, like on the lock screen, and she was like, what, like, is she like, what's going on? Why is she like blowing up your phone? And I told her like, oh, it's because like we had planned like a sleepover this weekend, um and we'd been planning it for 2 weeks, but I had told her that I'm not going. And she was like, why are you not going? I was like, because I'm taking care of y'all, because y'all are sick, y'all are dying, and I'm trying to cook some chicken soup for you. So, and you guys can't even get out of bed, so I'm gonna stay. And so then she was like, oh, you don't have to do that, like you could have gone. I was like, no, mom, like my family comes first. um they're not my priority, you guys are, right? So
Yeah.
then the Monday after that weekend, we went back to school, right? So then I tried my best to avoid her as much as possible, because I was like, if she comes up to me and starts telling me shit, like I'm gonna go off, right? Um, so then that Monday, like she came over to me and she was like, so you're just gonna ignore me the whole weekend? You're not gonna answer my phone calls, you're not gonna answer my text messages? And I was
Oh my
like,
God.
yes, I'm
Oh,
going to ignore you because my family comes first. Like, it doesn't matter that we had been planning this for over a month or what or whatever. If we've been planning this for over a year and my family's over here dying because they're sick, I'm going to have them as my priority. I don't care about no damn sleepover.
yeah,
Um
exactly.
and she was like, I see how it is. And I was like, yeah, okay, good. Good, because I can't do, like, if you're going to be like this for like future plans and I happen to have family emergencies and you're gonna be acting this way, hell the fuck no, I don't want to be your friend. And
Yeah,
I
exactly.
was like, okay, if it's gonna be like this, then great. I hope you have a good life. um and then I was like, like, fucking do whatever the fuck you want. I'm not gonna be a part of, like, don't put me in your plans, basically.
Yeah.
And so then she was like, well, you don't have to be like that. And like uh she had said something that really set me off and I can't remember what it was. But she was basically saying like, hey, you don't have to like yell at me and act that way with me and blah 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, I do, because you, first of all, you wouldn't stop calling me, you wouldn't stop texting me, because I canceled on a plan that I understand we spent our time planning and whatnot, but you wanted to take me away from my family who was sick, and I wanted to take care of them. And you, obviously, I know where your priorities stand, because obviously your family doesn't matter to you if you're going to be acting that way with mine.
Mm-hmm.
So no, fuck you. I'm out.
Yeah, sleepover is literally
For a
never that fucking
second,
important.
It's
I thought you
never that
said
important.
Mona.
It is never that
Dude,
important.
okay, let me tell you, if you have friends like that, I don't care if you're in high school, I don't care if you're in middle
Drop them.
school or whatever, drop them, because they're not worth any of your time. If people are
You're
acting that way with you right now, imagine how they're going to act with you whenever you guys grow up into like whatever age, right? Like, say you're like at 20 something, at the age of 20 something, 30 something. Imagine how they're going to act with you whenever that shit happens. Like, again, like, say you have a family now, you have kids. Imagine how they're gonna act and be like, oh, but this is more important than your kids. No, it's not. Like, oh
Yeah.
Lord,
reminded
that
me of
shit
a
got,
story.
that shit was so, oh Lord. As I thought of it, that's why I had told Ali. I was like, oh, I can't, like, I just remembered a story and I really want to talk about it. And then we were just like, let's talk about ex-friends. Um, but yeah, no, that
Yeah.
shit really got to me. And I was just like, bro, you know what? Don't put me in your plans. I'm not a part of this anymore. Like, whatever. Um, she actually messaged me not too long ago, like last year. Um, cause we quote unquote bumped into each other at a Walmart nearby. Um, Basically she just happened to walk by and she saw me like walking with my little brother, and she texted me like 3 days later and she was like, hey, Like, I saw you at the Walmart. I want to say hi. I want to see how you're doing. I was like, oh, I'm great. And then like dipped out of the conversation. I like dipped out of the conversation. I was
I
like,
was
yep.
great, but I was, I would be better if I hadn't seen you ever again.
And she tried to like make plans for us to all get together, and I was like, I can't.
No thanks, I'm
Now
not
I
having
have
a
a good
second.
excuse and be like, I gotta,
I'm
you
not
know,
having a
like
second
I
again.
got a fucked up knee. I can't. I'm sorry.
We've got COVID.
Yeah, COVID hit, and I was like, COVID, bro, I can't. I'm sorry. Like, I'm trying to take care of my
All over.
family.
No, I can't.
Yeah. I
I'm
was like,
sick.
sorry, bro. Like, COVID is out there. Can't do it. Like, I'm trying to like take care of my kids here. Got my family to take care of, so you know. You know how it is. Yeah. But
Oh,
yeah.
uh-huh.
Yeah, no, that was definitely, bro, that was some shit, bro. Let me tell you. Middle school is so
You remember
dramatic,
me.
bro.
Literally.
Oh, uh-huh. Middle school had to
Bro.
be the worst years of my life.
Middle school for sure. Dude, okay. So my middle school, like the first middle school that I went to, because after that year, with them, I like my mom moved me to the school that I went to. Anyways, the first middle school that I went to, like it was considered like one of the bad schools, right? So what they did was like they had metal detectors, like at the doors, and they had cops, and they had the teachers like at the other side, just kind of not line up, but they were just kind of like watching to make sure that nobody brought guns in or whatever. Um, so when the when you're going into school, you have to line up outside, right? So they have you line up outside, out of the doors, so that way each one of us can go through the metal detectors one by one, and that should takes like about an hour. Um, so I remember this one time I was in line, um, and we were like getting close to the doors. So we were like at the staircase. There was like these little staircase steps or whatever. And I was at the staircase and I was like almost to the top, mind you. So one of my supposed friends at the time, she was a big like she was a big girl, like she was tall. Um and we were just like I was talking to one of the girls that was in that phone call, and she just comes over and she's like, "Hey cat, what's up?" And like she like shoves me, right? Cuz that's what we did back then. We shoved each other. And I was like, "Ha ha, very funny." And like I shoved her back. And I don't know what came over her, dude. She like both her hands just came at me and she just pushed me, right? And when she pushed me, my my ass like flew off the stairs. Bro, let me tell you, bro, I was so scared for my life. Like I said, I mind you, we were at the top of the stairs, so my ass flew off the stairs. And I remember, like, I fell and like my glasses came off, and like my legs were like, you know how whenever you fall and like your legs come up like towards your chest, like that shit happened to me, and I was like, bro. I got up. I remember I got up and she was like, "Oh my god, Kat, I'm so sorry. I don't know what I'm so sorry. I didn't think I was pushing that hard." And blah blah blah. I was like, "Bitch, you're taller than me. What do you mean?" Oh my god, but that shit was so scary when I fell back. Dude, that shit was embarrassing cuz like mind you, we're in the line. There's like fucking uh sixth, seventh, eighth graders everywhere. And I was like, bro, I remember they were making fun of me the whole day.
No.
But she was like apologizing, and like that whole day she stuck next to me, and every time somebody else mentioned it, like she would be like, bro, shut up. And like she would, because she's like uh she was a fighter, right? So she fought a lot of people during that one year. But she was like, bro, shut up. And like she would raise her fist and like everybody would be like flinching, like, oh shit. um but dude, that was like the most embarrassing day. of my middle school career. Fuck that day. I hated it. But it was funny though because like because I was pretty like small. And like she just the fact that she threw me off those stairs was so embarrassing. I fell and like my glasses were like towards the other side of the freaking curb and my legs
Oh my
flew
God.
back and I was like, bro.
She got the strength of the gods for
I'm
a
saying,
second.
bro, that shit was so embarrassing. If you were in my shoes and you remember that shit, I want to cry.
Oh my God, you reminded me in middle school. I used to be friends with this girl. I don't know why she had a broom at
A
lunch. I don't
broom.
remember. Yeah, so this is getting weird. We were at the snack bar line. It was like at the very edge of the cafeteria, and at the time she was my best friend.
Hmm.
And I don't know what exactly, I don't remember exactly what she did, but she swung the broom around and it hit me in the head, and everybody saw. And I was like, fuck, that hurt. What the hell? And she's like, I'm sorry. Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, why would you do that? But my head hurt. My head hurt the rest of the day. But man,
Oh,
I didn't want to look anybody in the eye after that. Everybody at the cafeteria turned around to see
I'm
me get
telling
hit in
you,
the head
man,
with a
some of the
broom.
most
A broom!
embarrassing shit happens to you mainly in middle school, and it's like the stupidest shit ever.
No, no, the stupidest shit ever that ever happened to me was
Sorry, I just
my
remembered something
10th
really
grade
embarrassing.
year.
Anyways,
You
continue.
said
So,
everything embarrassing happens in middle school, and my brain.
no,
Okay, sorry, Mo. Continue.
no, my freshman year. Okay, I'm not gonna call them by their names. Hopefully the girls. Okay, no, I'll explain it a little bit. Okay, so my freshman year, I met this girl. I'll call her Linda. We got close. She's small, itty bitty girl, but she's my age. She's my age, and we were really close. And she was, I don't know, she kept trash talking about her sister. I'm gonna call her sister Cindy. Cindy was a grade behind me, so she was in 8th grade. She was talking about how she was gonna come to the school next year, and I was like, okay. She was like, don't be friends with her because she's mean or whatever. She was just shit talking her, saying like, don't be her friend. And I was like, okay. So I didn't meet her my sophomore year, but my junior year we did have class together, and it was choir. And I remember me and Cindy got along so well, but me and Linda hadn't really been talking as much because we didn't have classes together. And I think Linda got word that I was friends with Cindy, so she was upset at me. And I would text her back and forth. I'd be like, what's wrong? Like, why aren't you talking to me? And mind you, okay, I have a brother. I have an older brother, and he's autistic, so he hasn't talked in like years. So she was like, I wouldn't mind if my sisters didn't talk. She was trash talking her sisters, being like, they were like your brother. Like, I wish they didn't talk. And I was like, what is wrong with you? I
That's
wish
really
every day
tough.
my brother could talk.
Yeah.
So she was like, she got quiet and everything. But mind you, this is all through text, right? I haven't seen this girl after that. Like nothing. So next year rolls around. It's probably my senior year, and I go to Cindy's house, and I meet her other sister. I'm gonna call her Brenda. So I'm sitting in Cindy's room with Cindy and Brenda, and I didn't notice that the room next door that leads into her room is Linda's room. So I'm sitting there, we're playing Xbox. Linda comes in and she looks at me, and I was like, "Hi, Linda." She's like, "Hi." Walks over away, comes back to her room. Like she's like back and forth. And we're like, oh, whatever. And I was like, well, whatever. At least we said hi. It's like the first time we talk in years, or a year. And then she goes out towards the living room, and all of a sudden, she comes back, and she's like, hey, mom and dad want to talk to you, towards Cindy and Brenda. And they're like, okay. So they leave. I'm sitting there for a while. They come back, and they said, hey, you can't be here anymore. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, yeah, apparently Linda told our parents that you had slapped her in an argument a year ago or something. And I was like, what? I was so mad. I would have fought her. I really would have fought her that same day. But she went to go hide in her room. She literally went to go hide in her fucking room. And I had to stand outside and wait for my ride because they kicked me out. And Cindy and Brenda waited outside with me, and they were like, "I'm sorry, blah blah." And I was like, trying to remember back. I I don't like getting in altercations. I don't even like fighting with people. So when she told her parents that I had slapped her, I was like, when the fuck did I ever like hit somebody? And I was thinking about it, but I've never touched that girl in my life. That girl is so tiny. She's like a twig. She's like a toothpick. Like I was already skinny, but she was a lot skinnier than I was, and that was like insane. So if I had hit her, she would have been on the ground. So I was like, what the hell? I would have remembered. So JP came to pick me up. I told him what happened. I was furious. And later in the years, like, if me and Cindy wanted to hang out, we'd have to do it on the low, so where her parents wouldn't find out. And then I remember on Instagram, I made a passive aggressive post towards Linda. And these two girls, you remember was it an episode or two ago? I talked about these two girls that like wanted me to break up with JP because he looked like he would beat me up or something.
Yeah.
Well, those two girls, do you remember how I said I didn't talk to them anymore shortly after that?
Yeah.
Well, when I made the passive aggressive post, I never mentioned anybody's name. And they slid into my DMs talking about, why are you making up stuff? I don't remember that happening. And I had to tell them, of course you don't remember, because it's not about you.
If the shoe fits, though, shit.
Apparently.
Worried about the wrong thing.
If they would watch this shit, I don't know what the hell went through your head that day, but if you didn't remember it happening, it's because that didn't happen to you.
Right.
Oh my god, no, that.
If you get upset about somebody adding somebody because you think it's about you, well, then maybe you need to reevaluate what you're doing with your life.
I was like, you're still stalking my posts, and this was like, I don't know, it was like a year or two after we stopped talking. So like, I remember I had blocked them off stuff. So when they messaged me privately together, they were like, "Hey," like they came at me together, like not just like, "Hey, one privately." Like they made a whole group chat with me in it, and I was like, "What the fuck is happening right now?" And then they were like, "Oh, I wish you well, blah blah blah," and I was like, "You're gonna try and come at me, and then once I call you out, the fact that it's not about you, you're gonna act like everything's all cool."
Of course.
You were gonna gang up on me. Yeah, but no. Yeah, that was. Ooh, if I could see her again, it would be on site. Every time I think about that girl, every time, like, oh my god, like I remember her sister was graduating. Cindy, I think I named her, and I saw Linda in the crowd with her mom, and I was like, "Ooh, you're lucky your mom's here." Oh, ooh.
Ooh.
It was on.
Ooh.
I'm telling you, it's on site because I never laid hands on anybody, but if it had to be anybody, it would be her.
If you're listening to this, you're catching hands with all of us.
Facts.
If she ever listens to this and she's like, "That's not my
It'll be
name,"
one-on-one, though.
obviously,
I'm not
but
no
you
bitch.
know who you are, and you know I'm gonna let you know right now. It's on
I'm not gonna
site.
gang up on
It's on
anybody,
site.
but I will fuck her up.
You go
She's
after
itty
Mo, you're
bitty.
going after all of us, bitch.
Not gonna jump her, but she will.
Is that also nowhere near close to their names?
Doesn't even start with the same letter. None of the letters you gave them, like none of the names, like even remotely contain.
Literally, yeah. Well, maybe a few A's. I don't
Maybe
know.
a few A's.
Maybe a few A's.
Maybe a few A's.
Linda.
Maybe an I in there.
The is similar to her actual name.
Oh shit. Bueno.
But not Cindy and Brenda.
Miss Ma'am, Allie, you got a story? I heard you gasp earlier.
I know.
So, I already put it out there, so I might as well fucking talk about it. Whatever. It's natural. It happens. Who gives a fuck? All right, so let's go. What grade was this? This would have been 7th grade. Yeah. Okay, so I was in 7th grade, and I did not know that that morning I had apparently so I have like a very like irregular cycle outside of birth control. So like I had no clue like when I was gonna like have my period and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So that morning I had started my period and I didn't know. So I had like no protection. Luckily I wasn't wearing like anything white. That would have been horrible. But so I had nothing. I didn't know. I didn't know I was about to start. I had for a while kept stuff in my bag, but for some reason I took it out. I don't know if I was like cleaning out my bag, got a new one, and just didn't put new stuff in. I can't quite remember.
Mm-hmm.
But so basically, like I'm just living my day. Like I go to band in first period because they like made us take it or whatever, and I'm just chilling. I'm like chilling with my friends, whatever. And then I go to like my second period, and I'm just like I'm in math, and it was like after lunch we came back to the classroom, and it was like I had that period and then it was lunch and then I came back to the classroom, and like as I was walking up to the classroom this guy came up behind me, and like it was someone I knew. It wasn't like a random dude, and he was like, and I was so confused at the time because obviously I had no fucking clue. And he was like, "Did you poop your pants?" And I was like, "No." Why the fuck would you
No.
ask me that? Like, if I pooped my pants, I wouldn't be here. Like, what the fuck? Obviously, I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't even. Hello. But like, so I'm just standing there, and I'm like, absolutely not. What the fuck? And so, basically, I'm sitting in class. Like, this is all happening without my knowledge, right? I'm sitting in class, just taking notes, whatever. The guidance counselor comes to the classroom and she knocks on the door and she's like, "Hey, I need Allie." And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I did, but all right. So I go and I like talk to her in the hallway, and she's like, "Hey, like, is everything okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why?" And she was like, "Well, a couple people noticed that you know, like you have a little something going on." And I was like, "I'm
What are
sorry,
you
what?"
talking about? Yeah, like
And
what?
then she was like, "Well, it appears that you have been bleeding through your pants." And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" It
Bro.
had been, I got to school by the time she had talked to me a good like 2 hours ago. Maybe an
Oh
hour and a half.
my god.
So for an hour and a half, or at least maybe a good hour, I had blood on my pants, and none of my, well, I don't know who all was like paying so much attention, but like, friend or not, none of the girls that may have seen it said anything to me. The one guy that said something was not educated, so asked me if I shit myself, and nobody
Oh
else
my
said
god.
anything. So I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And she was like, "Yeah, a couple people noticed and they came to me." And I was like, "Why didn't they come to me? Hello? I'm getting pulled out of class for something they could have told me." And so I'm like, "All right, whatever." So basically, I go sit back down in class. I like do the whole like hoodie around my waist shit so like nobody else sees, and I'm like completely embarrassed at this point because I'm like, how many fucking people saw blood on my pants and like nobody said anything for one, hello, but like they were dark jeans too, so I was just like, how many people were just like, oh my god, and like did
Staring.
such shit, which is so fucked up because it's like so many people could have been like, hey, there's something on your pants, at least like, hey, there's something
Yes,
on your pants,
dude.
and I could have been like, oh, let me go check, and been like, oh shit, long before then. But I don't know, I guess somewhere in between band and doing a bunch of shit, sitting down, standing up, bending over, whatever, and walking around with no protection, that, you know, shit happened. So basically, I like that period ends and I'm like completely mortified at this point. My like hoodie's wrapped around, and I'm like, the way I had gotten up out of that desk, like I feel like even more people saw it. I was, yeah, at this point so over it. So I put my hoodie on, and like my next thing was gym, and I was like, I literally have like nothing to clean myself up. And I was like, I don't want to go to the nurse. Like, I'm like, gross. So I like went to the bathroom, like on my way to the gym, and I like called my mom and I was like, I bled through and like, can you just like come pick me up? Like, I don't want to be here. I just want to go home. And she was like, yeah, I'm on my way. Just give me a little bit and I'll come get you. Like, she was working from like home at this time for a little bit. And she was like, she was working from home for a little bit at the time. And she's like, yeah, I'll come get you. Like, don't worry about it. And I was like, great. And my gym teacher was a bitch. Oh my God, I hated her. I had her for health too, like sex ed. And I could not fucking stand her, bro. But regardless, I walk in the gym and I like go up to her and I was like, hey, like, I'm having like a little bit of problems. Like my mom's coming to get me, so like I'm not gonna get changed. And she was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Like whatever. And just like walked away and I was like, okay, cool. Like she didn't give me any problems. I say she's a bitch because there was one time that like for other reasons I needed to like leave the class to call my mom and she was like, no, you could have done that before. And I was like, bitch, I gotta go. But she's just so bitchy for no reason. I don't know what was wrong with her or what was up with me and her. I don't know. But basically I was like, yeah, my mom's coming, so I'm not gonna be changing. And she was like, okay, cool, whatever. And then like my mom came and she picked me up and like I went home and everything and like the rest is history. But like I was so fucking embarrassed because like my brain instantly when she told me that like people had come to her, like my first instinct, like my brain was just like, who all, like how many people? Like my class is already a huge class, like so big that they needed to build a whole new middle school to split us in half. So it's like there's my class, there's the 6th graders and the 8th graders, and you're telling me there's so many people that could have seen. Not anybody said anything, which really sucks. But like, who who saw? Can I just get can I get a number? Can I get a name on who told you? But I was just like so mortified. And I'm just like, you said embarrassing things happen, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty embarrassing. But
they need to teach these girls to like speak up sooner because like I have a story similar like that, except my parents both worked, so and I had after school stuff to do, so I remember obviously the teachers were I'd ask them to go to the restroom, they'd be like no, or I wouldn't have a pad. I don't remember what, but I was probably missing a pad that day and I was freaking out because I always have a heavy flow, so I bled a lot. And these girls in my grade walked by me outside and they're being really bitchy, giving me side looks. And I remember one of them pretend to sniff my way and was like, oh, what's that smell? What's that fishy smell? And I was like, are you fucking serious right now? Like I'm like so embarrassed.
yeah.
And I'm like trying to like hide it. Like I have the jacket around my waist and everything. And you're not gonna offer a little bit of help or whatever?
Literally.
Yeah, no,
Like,
those of you that don't say shit, fuck y'all.
Yeah, I'm like, I get the guys because they might not have.
Oh yeah, the
known,
guys
might have been
definitely don't know,
uncomfortable,
but
whatever. But the
guys
girls,
don't get
that,
taught
like,
that shit. That's so sad.
yeah, no. But the girls that like obviously saw and
and
like,
don't say shit or they make
yeah,
like
it's like
snarky
you
remarks.
know what
Fuck
it is.
y'all.
You could have just been like, "Hey, you're bleeding." Like no one pulled me aside and was just like, "Hey," you know. They went to the guidance counselor who pulled me out of class, which is even more like, you know.
Yeah, and it's just
Like it's so embarrassing. And the fact that it was like an hour and a half at least into school is just like, are you fucking kidding me? All morning and nobody was just like, hey, like pull you aside, like, hey, you're bleeding. Like so simple. And I could have been like, oh my God, thank you. And so like ever
honestly.
since that day, like I have asked people, like girls in my class that I was like cool with, like we were kind of like class friends, you know, more acquaintances that
Spot.
like would hang out.
Right.
And like I would ask like my actual like friends. I'd be like, "Hey, can you check me?" Like I
Yeah,
would
dude,
not.
that's like the one thing you could
I
ask
was
your
like, I'm
friend is
never going
like,
anywhere without
hey, can you
asking.
check behind me? Like, am I
There was a
good?
video I saw on TikTok, and I was like, "That's so funny." This girl went around, and she was like, she went to ask the girls, and she was like, "Hey, can you check me?" And all the girls were like, "Yeah, yeah." Like, turn around, let me see. And she went to the guys, and she was like, "Hey, can you check me?" And a lot of them were like, "Yeah." And then she was like, "Do you know what that means?" And they were like, "No."
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
my God.
And it was so funny because it's like it's so true. That's just like a girl thing to just be like, "Hey, can you check me?" And we like instantly know what it means.
Immediately know what it means.
And like some
Yeah.
guys,
Guy
know, I'm
knows
not gonna say
what's
they don't, but like the guy she asked, it was really funny. The video was funny.
or if a guy knows what it means, they try. They don't try to hide it.
Yeah, they're
They
so
try to make it like one of the girls. They'll check you real quick, and they'll be like, "All right, you're good." But no, they're like turning their head. They're about to crouch on the floor or something, and it's like, damn,
Bro,
dude.
like calm down. Yeah.
like, girls are like, "Yeah, turn around," and they just get like a quick like lean back, like real casual, like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, you're good." And guys are like bending over, like
Bro,
laying
might as well
upside
do
down.
a handstand with that shit.
I'm like, not necessary, not
Ain't
necessary.
that
Thank
the
you, thank
truth?
you. You're drawing
Oh
more
man.
attention to what I didn't want
As
to
soon as they start crouching, it's like, you know what? Never mind. Just go, go, go.
Let me just turn around. I'm enough. Bye.
As soon as
Never
Bro.
mind. I no longer require you to check me. Thank you.
Honestly, dude. Oh my god. Oh man.
That's funny though.
Dude, I remember this one time. I can't believe I'm talking about this. Anyways, I remember this one time. This one time, I think it was in middle school. This one time, I was wearing khakis. Worst
Oh,
mistake of my
no!
life.
You know what? This was like me when I was wearing that same day, too. Don't worry.
I at least got lucky with some dark jeans.
That's why I never wear khakis anymore. Is because of that
I
one.
never wear anything white. Even if I'm not going to be on my period, I don't wear white.
I
I'm
cannot,
so
bro.
Oh, yeah, no,
White
I don't either.
khakis, nothing like that ever.
I'm not
So I always wear dark color pants now. Like I never do light shit. But I was wearing khakis. And
yeah.
I remember there's this guy, like mind you, this dude was tall. He was sitting right behind me and oh my god, it was so embarrassing. I got
Oh,
up to go
no.
use the restroom and he immediately like grabs my shirt and like pulls me down, right?
Oh no.
And then he was like, yo. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, let go of
Please
me.
don't tell me he said what I think he said.
He was like, you're bleeding. And I was like, fuck. like,
Oh jeez.
like, yeah. But like, he wasn't like,
New.
dude. He was like, he whispered, thankfully. He was like, yo, you're bleeding. But like he was definitely not like super obvious about it. He was just like, yo, you're bleeding. And I was like, fuck. And like I remembered I was wearing khakis, so it was even more noticeable.
Yeah.
Bitch, I was like, fuck. And like I didn't have anything to put around my waist, right? So he immediately, like, he was a sweet guy. He immediately took off his jacket, gave it to me, and he was like, here, put this like around your waist. And I was like, anyway,
Nice.
I had a crush on this dude,
Oh my
man.
God.
Let me tell you. Woo! Anyways,
Yeah.
so yeah,
What if after that? Hell yeah.
Right?
no,
man is
sadly,
educated.
I moved school, so I never saw him again.
Damn.
But
Aw.
you know, me and him could have gone somewhere.
Hey, guy from before, if you ever hear
If I were to see him like today, I'd know it's him. Anyways,
Hey,
anyways, continuing
like,
on.
I have his face in my memory.
Anyways, but yeah, no, he gave me like his thing, right, his jacket, and then I was like, shit, and I went to the nurse, and I called my mom, and she came to pick me up, and I like washed his hoodie like thoroughly. I was not giving that shit back unless it was clean, right? So like I like washed it, right? And then the next day I took it back and I was like, hey, like I washed it like 3 times. I was like, I'm not giving you shit like with blood on it. He was like, nah, it's cool, and he took it back. I mean, it would have been cool if he let me have it, but like whatever.
Like I probably would have kept it, but like it's fine.
It's fine. I mean, but yeah, no, he was a really sweet guy. He like, thankfully he whispered it, thank God. Because if it wasn't like that, like, dude, I would have been super embarrassed. But yeah, no, that dude, never ever fucking wear khakis or like light colored whenever you're in that time of the month. Like, don't ever do that
I don't
because
even
that's
risk
just
it. Like I get so
embarrassing.
scared wearing like light blue like jeans and shorts and shit. I'm
Yeah.
like, absolutely not. Anything light, I'm scared.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, at least your guy knew what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, he
I mean,
was
it might have
like,
been the color of my jeans that he was like, hello. But it was just like he was like, hey, you're bleeding. And you're like, oh, instantly no. And you're like, oh, bet, great, thanks. This dude's like, did you shit yourself? And I'm like, no.
yeah.
No, I didn't think so. Okay. I'm gonna go into class now. You deal with whatever the fuck you just asked me. Cause why? Why would you ask me that? I was like, do I smell like shit? Like, hello?
Dude.
Oh my
I'm
god, that's exactly what makes you like start second guessing yourself. Because I read this article where it's like, the girls who who are having their own period, they feel like they smell, like they feel like they could smell themselves, but
yes.
to be honest, everyone around them actually doesn't smell it.
Yeah, you
But
literally
like,
can't. Unless
so
it's
when a guy says that, you're automatically like, oh damn, like I really must smell.
Right.
So, uh, in case any guys are listening, any older gentlemen, younger boys, do not fucking say that shit.
not
Do not
comment.
mention how the woman smells. Absolutely not. Unless she smells good, you know.
Yeah, if she
But
smells good,
especially if you see a red stain,
any
do
type of
not
stain in
mention
the lower
any
region.
smell.
God.
Or like, as Ali said, did you shit yourself? That's a
Don't
big
ask
no.
that, please, because that was like it was more confusing than it was embarrassing because I was just like, is he like joking? Is he just being stupid?
Right.
And I was like,
Uh-huh.
no, I didn't. Thanks.
Yeah.
Um,
Take
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna say his name because I don't think he'll ever watch this. Take Alex for example. Okay, whisper that shit. Like if you see them bleeding, whisper. Don't freaking
Whisper
yell
that
out,
shit.
"You're bleeding!"
Yeah, I know.
Don't do that.
Whisper it, pull them aside, don't comment on anything. Like, just let them know and keep it pushing. Don't draw attention to it because I promise you, as much as it's a natural thing and it happens to like almost every girl, it's still embarrassing for us to be like, oh shit,
Honestly,
like we're
dude.
bleeding through. So just pull us aside and just whisper it and be like, hey, by the way. And if a girl asks you to check her, don't make it fucking obvious.
Don't make it obvious. All you gotta do is do a quick like.
Just
Quick,
lean
Bro,
back.
don't fucking.
Lean back a little bit.
Just lean back. Just do a little fake stretch. I used to do that. I used to fake stretch and be like, no, you're good.
Exactly. That's what I did.
I
I
fake stretch,
pretend
I
to
lean
check out
back.
their outfit. They'd be
Oh,
like,
that's
check
a
me,
good
and
one.
I'd be like, all right, and then I'd look at their outfit, and I'd be like, you're good. Like I would like do a quick up down scan, and then you're good.
Yeah.
Cause
Just
like,
a little quick
It was
thing
either
when
that or I'd let them walk in front of me a little bit,
yeah, that
oh
too.
yeah.
and then I'd be like, okay, yeah, you're good. You know, like leaving
Yeah.
class, right? Because like the girls behind me would always be like, can you check me real quick? And I'll be like, yeah, just walk in front of me and I'll tell you. But
Yeah, I used to have class with this one girl that was a friend. At the time, she is no longer. But anywho, she would always be like, "Hey, can you check me like on the way out of class?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got you." And so I'd make her like walk in front of me. I like how there's such common ways to like do it. Like have them
oh yeah,
walk in front of
there's
you or like
multiple
do a quick
ways.
turnaround and like lean
it's
back.
the
Or...
unspoken law.
It really is.
Cause
That's
like, especially if you don't know somebody, you'll just say, walk in front of me.
yeah.
But if you do know them, you just be like, all right, like I don't know, just like quick check, or like how I said, just pretend you're like checking out their outfit, make sure they look good,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's it.
Yeah.
Because
Quick
I would
check,
do
the
that
lean
shit.
back, the walk forward,
Yeah.
not the
Quick girl.
fucking.
Don't squat, don't do a handstand, don't
Oh
shout it to the
no!
rooftops.
Don't lay down on the floor and look up.
Honestly, bro.
Don't do the mechanic. Just
This isn't
tell
cloud
us
gazing time. Let's check what's under the hood.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, not the sit-ups. Not the sit-ups.
Yeah. Don't do a whole exercise. Don't lay under it. Just some
Burpees.
You're not looking at the damn sunset. Like,
oh my god.
no need to
Yeah.
look at the stars. Jesus.
Quick check and all is good. That's funny though. How
Over here
like
laying down looking for clouds. Shit. The fuck?
Mhm. But do some
Stargate.
stargazing real quick.
Stargazing, that's what it is.
Oh, there's cloud gazing too, and
Yeah.
that's funny though.
Oh man.
Crazy stories.
Make out instead of making out the shapes of clouds, see what the shape of the stain looks like.
Oh no!
Oh man.
Oh, geez.
Oh man.
Oh
Oh, yeah.
shit.
It's crazy how similar of stories we have, though.
Yeah, you really don't live an original experience, huh?
Don't. Like, the more and more I grow up, the more
Oh,
I'm
man.
like, I have not had an original moment in my life.
No.
Someone somewhere is like, oh shit, me too. And I'm like, hey, yo, this is such a random thing and you're relating? Hello?
Oh,
But I love it,
man.
though. I love finding random people to, like, relate with shit that I, like, never thought anybody would have gone through. It's, like, one of the funniest things.
Whew.
That's hilarious, though. Mechanic. I make myself laugh.
I was like the
Oh,
mechanic.
the mechanic.
Oh my god.
Go change my oil real quick.
Oh my god, that's fucking funny though.
Oh my
Yeah, I don't
god.
know what it is about middle school, but there's just so much shit. Like what middle school just attracts embarrassment and regret, and I don't know why.
Yeah. Middle
What is
school
it
is
about
the
middle school?
absolute worst. I have quite a few stories, especially the ones that we talked earlier. Like I didn't remember about the broom shit until like Clumsy mentioned that she fell down the stairs, and I was like, ah, I had an embarrassing
I
moment
brought up
too.
embarrassing
Oh, fuck,
moments.
did I forget about that?
Yeah, literally, I don't know what it was that triggered me.
No,
But
I was literally talking about
just
embarrassing.
saying
You
embarrassing
said
moments.
because I had said embarrassing things happen in middle school.
No,
You're
no,
just
no,
like,
no, no. I know.
"Ooh."
Like I know what triggered me, but I don't know what triggered like that memory specifically. All you said was embarrassing, and my brain was like, "Got it."
God.
Like
Your
I
most
couldn't remember.
embarrassing moment was a guy asking you if you should just. I got hit in the head by a broom and Clumsy fell down some stairs. I mean,
I
cat
got
fell down
asked
some
if
stairs.
Oh my god, yeah. Like trying to think
Oh.
about it, I'm sure I could find like more embarrassing things.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I'm over here
Oh,
dying.
yeah.
That one was like, this is the one. This is the one right here. If I thought about it hard enough, I'm sure I would remember hella stupid shit.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, there was a lot of stupid shit that happened in middle school.
I feel like up until like maybe junior year, I was just very cringy. Because after junior year, I stopped
Because
giving a
we're
shit.
immature at that age, man.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
I
most
just, like,
kids are.
I don't know. I had this very like trying to fit in thing, and if it didn't work out, it was very cringy. I don't know.
Oh.
But junior year, I just stopped
I
giving a fuck
remember that.
about doing shit, and I
Yeah.
like shit for myself. And then if shit was embarrassing or cringy, it was because it was gonna be. Like
Right,
there was
right,
no way
right.
around it. But like, yeah.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of shit that happened during any school year, and it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
how I wish I could turn back time.
If I could turn back time.
Honestly.
Yeah, no.
It's
So
like,
many embarrassing things that I'm like, this could have never happened, and I would have been so much better off.
honestly.
But I don't know. You live and you learn some things, you know. Now I, ask people to check me all the time so I don't go an hour and a half with people staring at me. So, I mean, hey,
I think middle school sucks. It's just because that your kids, you are also kids trying to grow, and then you don't exactly have that filter yet until I guess the end of middle school, where you're like, "Fuck, I guess this isn't what I'm supposed to say."
Yeah.
Because, oh man, nobody had filters back in middle school.
No, at all. At all.
Oh Lord. There's fucking stories that we can go off of here.
Oh,
Um I'm I've got this like one story stuck in my head. I don't know why. Um but it's almost as if I was trying to be detective at the time. So okay. So we had this teacher um who came in late. And we were just like all sitting there trying to figure out what the fuck happened. But he came in late and he came in like rushed, right? And he
hmm
came in, he was just like holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. And then obviously we were all just like, oh, like he just cussed. Um but then
Ooh,
another like one of the hallway like guys, like teacher, substitute, whatever, he was like coming in after him, right? And he was like, did you check your find my iPhone thing? And I was like, oh, like what's going on? Um and then he was like, y'all just give me like a couple minutes. I gotta figure this out real quick, blah blah. Um so he kept like he kept like updating us as to what was happening. So he was like, yeah, like my phone just got jacked and blah 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 blah. And we were just like, how though? Like, cause he had it on him, and then he was like, I don't know, I must have dropped it somewhere, blah blah blah. Anyways, what happened was apparently somebody had picked up his phone and started using it. I
bruh.
guess he left it unlocked, right? And
hmm
like something happened. It was either like his bank or something notified him that the phone was being in use.
Damn.
And um he was like, fuck, fuck, fuck. Like we were just like, yo, he's really pissed. Anyways, he basically was he put his Find My iPhone on the on the projector so we could all see,
Oh
I
my
guess.
god.
So then he was like, look, and like he was telling the other guy, like the substitute, he was like, look, like it's over here. And then they were like, oh yo, like the substitute was like, oh yo, like he's still on campus, like we could try and go get him real quick, blah blah blah. um so then they were like, no no no, wait, because now it's moving again. And all of a sudden it like jumped from the campus to Oklahoma.
What
And
What
the
we
the
were just like,
hell?
what the fuck? We were just like,
live
wait.
here
Like, we
going
all looked at look, everybody was just so confused. They were like, what? And
This
then,
is an instant
dude, when I
transmission.
tell you, we synchronized that time because we were just like, what? And like, they all said it at the same time. And we were just like, wait a minute.
What the
um,
You
fuck?
know, that man's heart dropped. He was like, wait,
Honestly,
I forgot what's happening.
he was like,
Oh my
wait. And then the dude, like, the substitute was like, what the fuck? And then we were just like,
god.
we were just so confused, right? And so then he was like, how is it in Oklahoma? Like, how? Like, I literally just dropped it like 5 minutes ago, blah, blah, blah. So then,
Teleporting.
um, they were just like, okay. So then I remember like the substitute like got like a bunch of like other substitutes and like teachers together to like search for the phone and whoever had it.
Oh my
um
god.
so the teacher just like, we didn't do anything in that class that day because we were just all trying to figure out where the fuck the phone was. So he just kept refreshing his Find My iPhone thing and his tracker. And so then every time he refreshed it, it popped up in a new place. And it was weird. So
What
you know how
the
like I
hell?
just said it was in Oklahoma. So from Oklahoma, from there it went to New York, and then from there it went to Utah, and then from there it
What?
went to Montana, and then from there, yeah, it was just like bouncing all over the place. And we were just like, what the hell is
Someone in
going
the
on?
world knew how to teleport, and they were like, "Here you go," with his phone in their pocket.
Honestly. Um and then the last place I remember it stopped at was at Washington. And so then he was like, oh, I'm tired of this. And like he just like, he started calling the police, right? And then all of a sudden his phone finally bleeped back in the campus. And he was like, oh shit. He grabbed the radio, called the substitute that was helping him figuring it out. And he was like, hey, it's back in the campus. It says that it's in the courtyard, blah, blah, blah. And so then they all like a army jumped to, like, they
Oh
immediately went
my
to
god.
the
God.
courtyard. And there was nobody there, and like the
What?
phone was like,
The ghost.
it was weird, dude, because the phone, this is why I'm telling you it stuck with me, because the phone was just on a table in the
Bruh.
courtyard. And so
What?
then they like, the substitute like immediately radioed back, and he was like, hey, it was on this table. And he was like, that's impossible because I was never in the courtyard. And so then turns out like they looked at the cameras and all. Sadly, they didn't have like footage of the courtyard, but they found out that there was a kid that like was super into technology, and he would hack phones and shit. um
Um,
so he was
Wow.
using it, and he was like, I guess he was trying to like um leave no trace or whatever, so he blipped it back to where it's in the campus, and he left the phone in the courtyard. But everybody knew who he was because he did all the technical stuff at the school.
bruh.
So like,
Nobody will know. Everybody knows.
everybody knows who that was. But it was weird though, because we were just like we were all playing detective. We were just like, how is it like in Washington? How is it in New York? How is it in blah blah blah? Like, it kept, every time he refreshed it, it was someplace new, and I was like, what the fuck?
That's crazy.
But I can't remember what exactly notified him that his phone was like took like it was being used on. I want to say it was the bank, but I can't really exactly remember. But yeah, no, it was a fun day, let me tell you that. Like, we hated that class, but after that happened, like, we were just like, yo, and like we started talking to the teacher more and be like, hey, how's your phone doing? Like,
Mm,
where's your phone now? Nah. Um, but yeah, no, that was definitely one of the stories that stuck with me. It was because we were all just trying to be detective that day. He
love
was
it.
like,
Funny. That's
he
actually
was
pretty
definitely one of the teachers that like frowned upon cursing, but he cursed himself, and I was like, bruh.
Bruh,
What?
practice what you preach, man.
Honestly, bro, like,
Uh-huh.
oh
That's
man.
funny.
But it was funny. It was a funny day. Anyways, it's 10:30.
I love days like that. It is
Yeah, we
10.
gotta wrap it up.
We
That would
do.
be
Alright.
Well, before we wrap it up though, I did want to make a quick note. Obviously, now we're at 24? No, 23? 23 followers on Twitch. So, thank you
Yeah.
very, wow. Whoa, what was that?
Whoa!
Did
I
you
heard
hear
that
that?
too.
Holy
Yeah.
What happened?
jeez.
This is really loud, like high-pitched noise for a second.
Almost
I
blew
didn't
my
hear
ear
anything.
out. Okay, it must have been you, girlfriend. Anyways.
I don't know what it would have been, but okay. My bad then. Sorry.
Holy Jesus. Anyways, so thank you very much for the follows on Twitch. Really appreciate it. Um, we just found out this morning that we hit 20, no, sorry, I found out last night, but I told the girls this morning that we hit 22 followers on Spotify and 35 all-time plays on Spotify. So that is really, really cool. Every time we see those numbers grow, it always brightens up our day, makes our day so much better. So
Yes.
we truly, truly appreciate all of the support and all of the love from you. Thank you guys so much. Oh my god, it's huge. Like I've told the girls before, yes, like obviously those numbers are pretty small, but to me they're like extremely big. Even just like one
Yeah, this
follow,
is like
one like, it's like really cool.
Yeah, it
Um
makes for sure.
it makes our day so much better, and we absolutely appreciate. We actually have, so we, if you, you know, for those of you who missed our episode on Twitch today, we upload all of our episodes on Spotify and on YouTube, so you guys can go catch them there, so there's no need to worry about those. um uh you know, we have a Discord. You guys can definitely join the Discord so you guys can excuse me, so you guys can keep up with any announcements, any schedule changes, or if you guys have stories or topics that you guys want to talk about, or you guys want us to talk about, you could definitely post them there. We also have a Twitter. You on the Twitter bio, excuse me, on the Twitter bio, um we have a link called Curious
Curious
Cat. There we go.
curious cat.
Woo! Curious Cat link where you can anonymously post stories that you guys want us to talk about, whether it be like embarrassing stories or love stories or mysterious stories. Ooh. Um, you can post them there. Um, like I said, it can be anonymous. If you don't want it to be anonymous and you want it, like if you're okay with us using your name, that's totally fine too. But yeah, so definitely check out all of that stuff.
We
There's all of that stuff is also posted on the About Us channel page in our channel profile here on Twitch. So, Mo.
Ooh, the outro, since it is the end of the episode, so we're ending it here. Again, happy Valentine's Day, guys, and remember to check out the book Claudette Colvin's Twice Towards Justice by Philip Hose. Who's? It's like Moose, but who's? Okay. So thank you for allowing us to be part of your day, and we'll catch you on the next one.
cat.
Is it me? Oh yeah, shit. I was like, Allie?
It's you.
Powerpuffs out!